The Mario Kart 64 speedrun is infamous for being a grueling gauntlet of skips ranging from moderately easy to impossibly hard. Of the 16 tracks in the game, 11 involve a major skip. But many of these skips don't just require incredible skill, they require items. Very specific items. To set a new world record, pure skill isn't enough, you also need to get lucky. How lucky? Well, let's find out. Of the 16 tracks, these 11 have major skips, which means these 5 don't. Note that this is considering current world record strategies. Sherbetland technically has a shortcut involving a full lap skip after a lengthy setup with a penguin, but it's extremely difficult and is currently only considered as a last resort to save a doomed run. Theoretically, every single track has a skip. All of them except one, ironically the only one with an intentional shortcut, Koopa Troopa Beach. In reality though, these shortcuts involve CPU jumps, which would be impossibly unreliable to try and go for in a real-time setting. So for our purposes, we're not going to consider those skips. Now, which tracks actually require specific items? Luigi Raceway's shortcut is done with a mushroom for a full lap skip. Since there are 3 laps, you need 3 mushrooms. However, this one is so fast that a super mushroom can do in a pinch. In practice, because this trick requires an extremely precise position, pulling it off with a super mushroom is particularly tough, but it has been done. But there actually is another option, triple red shells. This used to be the strategy before the current one obsoleted it, but despite Lakitu slowing things down, it can still come within about 12 seconds of the mushroom lap skip. Considering that Luigi Raceway is the first track in the run, there are no stakes, so anything other than triple mushrooms or super mushroom is a reset, but on paper, triple red shells could be a viable alternative. Next is Kalimari Desert. This is by far the most complex. You want to sandbag for 8th place at the first item box and quickly grab 2 items. What you get will shape the strategy. Red shells and blue shells can be used to go backwards through the tunnel and launch yourself over the fence to complete 20-second laps. A star can be used for a lap skip in the tunnel. Rather incredibly, this lap skip is intended. More precisely, it abuses a purposefully designed Easter egg in a way that was probably unintended. In the tunnel, driving past the finish line plane doesn't work, unless you have a star active. So you can go backwards into the tunnel, then turn around and use the star to skip a lap. This can be combined with red shells for the fastest Kalimari Desert strategy. Other options include mushrooms for lap skips using the Desert Tenko, this crazy bounce over the wall. In a perfect world, it would have the potential to outpace the star and red shell strategy, but in the sad reality we live in where we have to play the video game ourselves, it comes out a little bit longer. It can, however, be combined with blue or red shells to great results. Finally, in a pinch, a green shell can save a run where the first item was a star, and some really wacky stuff can be done with awkward items, but generally speaking, red shells followed by a star is the combination you want. Toad's Turnpike and Frappe Snowland are so fundamentally broken that no items are needed or even collected. Shoko Mountain is perhaps the most infamous of the shortcut tracks. Using 3 mushrooms, one can pull off the legendary triple weather tenko. With a super mushroom, you can jump over this hill, then do 2 weather tenkos. Other items don't help. Mario Raceway's fastest strategy is to knock yourself over this wall with a red or blue shell. So triple red shells is what you want, so you can do this 3 times. With only a blue shell, you would end up in first place after the first lap, which all but prevents you from getting useful items from that point on. Theoretically, some other items could help pull off suboptimal laps, but this is near impossible to pull off while being quite a bit slower, and that doesn't really save much time at all, so triple red shells is the only thing you want. Wario Stadium is also so broken that no items are collected. Royal Raceway is kind of similar to Mario Raceway. Again, you want triple red shells so you can knock yourself onto the wall this time so that Lakitu picks you up. With some section manipulation, he sets you down in front of the finish line and you get credit for the whole lap. Triple red shells are mandatory. DK's Jungle Parkway's lap skip doesn't involve items, but you can pick up a couple of item boxes along the way. More about those later. Yoshi Valley used to be done with triple mushrooms, but a new strategy was found that doesn't use items at all. This skips the first 2 laps, and the final one is done from that side instead. Items can be picked up along the way but aren't necessary. Finally, Rainbow Road requires triple red shells. You knock yourself over this fence, and while you slowly fall into the vast emptiness of space, you back up behind the finish line to get set back in front of it and skip a whole lap. And there you have it. These items are required for the shortcuts in this run. Triple mushrooms, triple reds in a star, triple mushrooms, triple reds, and triple reds again. So how do you get all of these items? Well, luckily, there is a way to skew the odds in our favor a little bit. Item probabilities depend on your position at the moment that the item is locked in place. If your goal is to get triple mushrooms, for instance, you can maximize your chance of getting them at 25% by rolling the item in 5th or 6th place. For triple red shells, any position except first will give you a 20% chance at them. In many tracks though, you need to turn around for the lap skip, so you end up in 8th place quite often to roll for red shells. Other than that, it's pure luck. Technically, it's only pseudo-random, but in practice, there's no way to manipulate the items you get in any meaningful way, so it might as well be pure randomness. So with triple reds at only 20% and no item ever being above 30%, the probability of getting all of these items on the first try, all in a row, is minuscule, right? It definitely is, but before we get there, let's talk about the minor items as well. While they're not strictly required to pull off the shortcuts in the run, minor items are all the ones you pick up along the way that can have an impact on the run. For the most part, we're talking about mushrooms. During most of the run, you're comfortably in first place, so any item box you run into can contain a single mushroom with a 10% chance. Each of these mushrooms saves somewhere around 0.35 seconds, with some of them saving more and a few saving a bit less. The only major exception is Koopa Troopa Beach. That track has a quirk called the finish line glitch. It's a polygon near the finish line that is incorrectly marked as being part of the beginning of the lap, so by driving over it, your progress is suddenly yanked back to the beginning of the lap, often putting you in last place for a split second. If you lock in an item box precisely as you're driving over it, you can get 8th place items in first. So exceptionally, you can get super mushrooms and even stars twice on this track. This glitch is also present in Royal Raceway and Yoshi Valley, but it can't be used for anything meaningful there. Generally speaking, mushrooms aren't used just anywhere. A track usually has 1 or 2 spots where a mushroom is most helpful, usually to cut a corner or in long turns because mushrooms are more effective while you're drifting. So if one gets a mushroom, they'll generally hold on to it until they can use it in the best spot. This means there can be more than one opportunity to get a mushroom, but generally only one mushroom will be used per lap. With all that being said, let's review all the locations where items have a minor effect on the run. In Moo Moo Farm, one shroom spot is preceded by 2 item boxes, and on each subsequent lap, there are 3 opportunities to get another mushroom. In Koopa Troopa Beach, there are 2 item boxes that can yield a mushroom to be used here on every lap, and you can grab this item box for a decent chance at a star for a nice 1.5-second time save. A super mushroom is also good, but not optimal. In Sherbet Land, each lap has an opportunity for a mushroom after 2 item boxes each. Bowser Castle's mushroom spot is particularly good, saving about double that of a regular mushroom, and there are 2 occasions per lap to get one. Since it's at the start of the lap though, mushrooms on the final lap don't save nearly as much time. DK's Jungle Parkway has 2 occasions to pick up an item, and a mushroom is especially useful. On the final lap, a mushroom can speed up the drive up the tunnel to finish up to 2 seconds faster than without one. That's the highest value mushroom that isn't used to skip something in this run. In Yoshi Valley, you do run into a few item boxes on the final lap, but the conditions to use a mushroom aren't great, and so they barely have any impact at all. And finally, on Benchy Boardwalk, there are many opportunities to pick up items, 4 per lap, and mushrooms are typically used here. With all said and done, there's a grand total of up to 29 items used in this run, 7 major ones and 22 minor ones. Realistically, you'd probably end up getting a handful of those minor items to give you a little help. So let's finally answer the question, how unlikely are you to get all of these items in a run? Let's start with only the major items, since these are the ones you really want to get a good run. Triple mushrooms or a super mushroom are a combined 35% chance in 5th or 6th place. In Kalimari Desert, you need triple red shells followed by a star for a combined 6% chance. Triple or super mushroom for another 35%, and then triple reds 3 times in a row at 20% each. This brings us to a total probability of 0.00588%, or 1 in 17,000. That's quite rough, and it's not gonna get any better. Minor items are optional, but they do add up. They can save roughly 11 to 12 seconds altogether, and the most important are stars in Koopa Troopa Beach and a mushroom on DK's Jungle Parkway. Now, the probability of getting every single one of these is astronomical, 1 in 3.57 quadrillion. Combined with the major items, the probability of getting absolutely perfect item luck over the course of the run is 1 in 60.7 quintillion. Thankfully, we don't need all of these to be perfect. In a typical run, you're likely to save about 2 to 4 seconds. Also, you don't really need perfect luck to have a decent run. For the most part, the only penalty for not getting the item you want is having to stay on the item box while you dump the unwanted item and get a new one. This takes roughly 1.8 seconds in most cases. So instead of only looking at the probability for absolutely perfect luck, it's much more insightful to look at the general impact of item luck on the final time. In order to get as accurate of a figure as possible, we need to consider a few details. First, getting rid of unwanted items isn't exactly the same all the time. Usually, one item is 1.8 seconds, but there are exceptions. Triple mushrooms can take a little bit longer because using them forces you to loop back around to get new items. A super mushroom is particularly terrible because it stays in the item box for its entire active duration, which delays the next item by about 12 seconds. Finally, stars are the most annoying to measure. Using a star frees up the item slot immediately, so you can get a new item quickly, but then what happens if you get another star? You need to wait for the first one to run out first before you can use a new star, so the time loss is variable. Furthermore, you need to wait out the star before using red shells on yourself. And to top it all off, on some tracks you can get rid of stars faster by tumbling down a steep hill. All of that was a major headache to model, so I did my best to take as few shortcuts as possible and keep my sanity in the process. Once all of that is taken into account, we can finally calculate how much time you're likely to lose from item luck across the entire game. And this is the result. The expected value is about 1.5 minutes, but it's not completely unheard of for it to be as bad as 3 minutes. But it's not that helpful to know that there's a 1.2% chance that we lose exactly 75 seconds from items. A better way to view it is, what's the probability that the luck is this good or better? For that, we need a cumulative distribution function. This function displays the probability that on any given run, your item luck is this good or better. As you can see, absolutely perfect luck is basically impossible, but to be within as little as 30 seconds isn't completely ridiculous. Now, where does the current world record stand on this curve? Well, let's take a look. Abney got the triple mushrooms in Luigi Raceway, and the triple reds and a star in Kalimari Desert. We need to make a little change though. Shoko Mountain uses triple mushrooms now, but when the record was set, the strategy was to go around the track doing the hill jump on every lap and only attempt one weather tenko if you happen to get a mushroom. This changes the distribution ever so slightly. And as it turns out, Abney did get that mushroom in Shoko Mountain. In Mario Raceway, his streak of perfect luck ended as he only got his triple reds on the third item box. It came back in Royal Raceway with the first try triple reds. And finally, another first try triple reds in Rainbow Road capped off an incredibly lucky run. He even topped it off with several extra mushrooms in the first half of the run and a star in Koopa Troopa Beach. Overall, in terms of item luck, Abney's run sits right here. It's a 1 in 500 kind of run. It's a shame that he paired this level of luck with that level of gameplay. Really though, the gameplay is top-notch in this run, save for the unfortunate Koopa Troopa Beach. It would be very hard to beat, but not impossible. With the current improved strategies, it's actually possible to beat the world record with as much as 40 seconds lost to items with near-perfect execution. But as the time gets driven down more and more, this leeway will inevitably vanish. The world record is 22:41 right now. A time in the 21 minutes is definitely possible, but to achieve this, one would have to pair incredible skill with a 1 in 1,000 level of luck. It seems unclear if it could be done, but as speedrunners have proven time and time again, the question is not if, but when. If you've enjoyed learning about probability and you want more, you're gonna love this video sponsor, Brilliant. If you used to struggle with it in school, Brilliant is there to flip things around and turn you into a maths person. The best things about Brilliant are simple. It teaches you maths and computer science with interactive problem solving, visual aids, and personalized practice. Problem solving is proven to be much more effective for learning new concepts than lectures. With Brilliant, you start at the right level based on your experience, and you progress at your ideal pace with a perfect mix of interactive problems, motivating challenges, and personalized reviews. Brilliant is not about memorizing formulas. It's about learning new concepts hands-on. It's about developing intuition and problem-solving skills until what used to be cryptic gibberish suddenly makes perfect sense. You can start learning for free at brilliant.org/bismuth by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the description. Brilliant is giving you, my viewers, 20% off an annual premium subscription for unlimited daily access to the entire platform. Thanks to Brilliant for supporting this channel.